The vast emptiness of the Perseid expanse had been silent for weeks. That silence was broken when the fleets of the Zarian Dominion and the Krell Union clashed above the shattered moons of Dovar. Energy beams lit the darkness like lightning trapped in glass. Ships burst like dying suns. Thousands of lives ended every passing second. For the rest of the galaxy, it was a distant tragedy, one among countless battles fought by empires too proud to surrender. But for the Zarian High Command, there was something far worse than losing. They had made a mistake that would echo through history. They had attacked a convoy marked with the symbol of Earth. At first, they thought it was nothing. A few transports, a small escort, nothing more. The reports were buried beneath mountains of tactical updates, but one word kept appearing on encrypted channels: human. No one in the Zarian hierarchy gave it much thought. The humans were a backwater species from the Sol system, barely 3 centuries into interstellar travel. What could they possibly do against a dominion that ruled a third of the galaxy? The answer came when Admiral Roan's flagship detected a ripple in subspace. At first, it looked like sensor noise. Then, one after another, massive drive signatures bloomed across the tactical display. "They are coming through the slipstream gate," the sensor officer said, voice tight with disbelief. "I am reading. 50, no, 100. Correction, 200 ships." Admiral Roan leaned forward. "Identify." The officer's hands trembled. "Origin Sol system. Configuration Terran fleet architecture." "They are human, Admiral." The bridge fell silent. The humans had never deployed a fleet beyond their own borders before. Yet here they were, emerging from the void like a storm given form. One by one, the ships appeared. Battleships with hulls like obsidian, cruisers bristling with kinetic launchers, carriers whose engines pulsed with energy far beyond Zarian comprehension. And at the center of it all, one colossal vessel dwarfing everything else, its name shining in cold letters across its hull. HSS Dauntless. Admiral Roan tried to steady his voice. "Open a channel." The comm officer obeyed. A moment later, the main display flickered to life, revealing a calm human face, uniform crisp, eyes steady as steel. "This is Admiral Carter of the Terran Defense Fleet," the man said. "You have attacked unarmed civilian ships under our protection. You have violated every code of war and decency. We gave the galaxy our hand in peace. Now you will feel the weight of our other hand." Roan tried to reply, but the transmission cut off. Then the humans moved. It began with silence. No hails, no warnings. The Dauntless issued a single pulse of blue light, and the Terran formation aligned like a wall of iron. Data streams flooded the Zarian fleet systems, unknown signals that tore through their encryption like it was paper. Within seconds, their targeting systems went blind. Shields flickered, engines stuttered, and then the first human volley came. Invisible to the eye, kinetic rounds screamed through the void, crossing thousands of kilometers in the blink of an instant. The Zarian front line vanished. Not burned, not broken, simply gone. Hulls shredded, reactors breached, debris scattered like dust in the cosmic wind. The humans did not cheer. They did not speak. They advanced. Roan's command ship tried to retreat, engines flaring, but every escape vector was already covered. Human cruisers intercepted with precision that bordered on the impossible. Their weapons were terrifying in their efficiency. Projectiles, energy bursts, rail-driven plasma bolts, all guided by artificial intelligences that thought and acted faster than any organic crew could. In less than a minute, the first battle group of the Dominion ceased to exist. Roan's voice broke through static. "This cannot be possible. How can a species so young wield such power?" But even as he said it, he understood. The humans had always been underestimated. Every major empire had dismissed them as reckless explorers, unrefined and emotional. Yet those emotions, their anger, their compassion, their stubborn refusal to bow, had forged something unmatched. The Dauntless moved forward, its hull glowing faintly with plasma shields. From its sides, waves of drones spread out, sleek and silent. They darted through wreckage, scanning survivors, disarming weapons, securing the area. Even in the aftermath of overwhelming destruction, the humans still sought order. Then a transmission went out across all channels. "This is Admiral Carter. Hostile fleet has been neutralized. No further resistance detected. All survivors will be given medical assistance and return transport once disarmed." The galaxy watched in silence. News of the battle spread like fire through the networks. Every empire, every coalition, every pirate fleet heard the same words whispered across subspace. The humans had entered the war zone. The enemy hadn't lasted a minute. For the Zarians, it was humiliation. For others, it was revelation. The Krell Union, who had been fighting the Dominion for a century, sent observers to the battlefield. What they found defied reason. The Terran fleet had not only won, they had done so with surgical precision. Every move, every strike, every countermeasure had been deliberate. Captain Mira of the Krell fleet stood aboard her ship, watching as Terran repair drones helped stabilize damaged vessels. "They destroyed an entire armada," she whispered, "and yet they helped the wounded. Who are these humans?" Her second-in-command answered softly, "They are what we should have been." The war zone became a quiet graveyard. Human medical frigates drifted among the debris, extending aid to friend and foe alike. Not a single wounded soldier was ignored. To them, compassion was not weakness, it was power. In orbit around Dovar, Admiral Carter stood in the command center of the Dauntless, reviewing reports. Casualties none. Enemy forces eradicated. Mission complete. He looked at the tactical map showing countless red markers now faded to gray. He sighed quietly. "Send a message to Earth Command. Inform them that peacekeepers have secured the area." His adjutant hesitated. "Sir, what should we tell them about the Zarian response?" "Tell them," Carter said, his tone even, "that the Zarians have learned what happens when humanity is provoked." Beyond the immediate battle, the shockwaves continued to spread. Entire councils convened in panic. The Voth Alliance issued an emergency decree. The Terran Syndicate suspended all military operations near human space. Rumors spoke of a new kind of weapon, something that could rewrite the laws of warfare. But the truth was simpler and far more terrifying. Humanity had learned to fight together. On Earth, the images of the battle reached every screen. People watched in silence, not with joy but with grim understanding. They had not sought glory. They had sought justice. A week later, emissaries from the Krell Union arrived at Earth orbit. They requested immediate talks, not out of fear but out of respect. They wanted to learn how the humans had achieved such unity. Admiral Carter stood before the council chamber as they entered. The Krell delegation bowed. "Your fleet turned the tide of a war that was not yours. Why?" Carter's answer was simple. "Because someone has to stop the cycle. We have seen what happens when power is used only to dominate. We use ours to end wars before they start." The Krell leader studied him. "And if others challenge you?" "Then," Carter said, "they will learn the same lesson the Zarians did." Back in the Perseid expanse, human engineers began constructing outposts and peacekeeping stations. They didn't claim territory, only stability. Their presence alone deterred conflict. Pirates vanished. Raiders surrendered. Even smugglers rerouted their paths to avoid the new human patrols. In time, the area once known as the Blood Belt became known as the Quiet Zone. No empire dared test its borders. Yet deep within Zarian space, resentment burned. The Dominion's leaders could not accept defeat. They rebuilt in secret, forging new ships, new weapons, convinced they could reclaim their pride. But every time their spies tried to infiltrate human channels, their systems crashed. Every attempt to study human technology failed. Every probe sent near human space simply disappeared. A year later, they tried again. This time, the Zarians launched a massive fleet, double the size of their last. They approached silently, hoping to catch the humans off guard, but the Dauntless was already waiting. The moment the Zarian fleet crossed the boundary, hundreds of Terran ships decloaked, forming a sphere around them. The Zarian admiral froze as his scanners lit up with thousands of target locks. A single transmission came through. "This is Admiral Carter. You had your warning." The Zarian fleet fired first. It made no difference. Human counterfire reduced them to vapor in seconds. The energy released lit up the nearest moon like dawn. When the light faded, nothing remained. There were no celebrations. No speeches. Humanity simply turned and left. They had no interest in conquest. Only peace enforced through unbreakable resolve. Over the following decades, the legend of the Dauntless grew. Children across countless worlds learned its name. Soldiers studied its tactics. Scientists debated how the humans had advanced so quickly, how their technology adapted in real time, how their ships seemed to anticipate every move. But those who served under Admiral Carter knew the truth. It wasn't just the machines. It was the people. Every human aboard those ships carried a will forged through centuries of struggle, a will that refused to surrender, to yield, or to forget what it meant to be human. In the end, the galaxy understood a new kind of power, not one born of domination or fear, but of unity and purpose.